Hey friends, welcome back to Flavor Friday. If we haven't met yet, I am Rebecca Connolly, personal chef, culinary nutritionist, cooking teacher, and business mentor. I help women just like you simplify meals, build confidence in the kitchen, and create flavorful food that actually supports real life. And today's conversation comes directly from something I've been noticing both online and in real kitchens lately. If you are just hopping on, say hello, drop down below where you are tuning in from, and what's your favorite meal that's on repeat these days? I'd love to know. Share below. All right, so somehow we've absorbed this idea that good meal planning means fill in the blank, constant variety, new recipes every week, perfectly balanced meals all the time, and somehow pulling it all together effortlessly. But after years of cooking for clients, feeding my own family, teaching cooking classes, and helping women just like you navigate meal overwhelm, I've actually found that the opposite is often true. Some of the healthiest, calmest, most functional kitchens that I've seen rely on a fairly small rotation of meals that simply work well for that household. And that's incredibly important. So today, I want to talk about why repeat meals are not a failure, why dinner has started carrying so much mental weight, and how chefs actually think about meal systems differently, as well as a few practical shifts that you can implement immediately for this week. And as always, if you're here live, say hi in the comments. If you're here on replay, also say hi in the comments. Let me know down below. All right. So, what's one meal that your household repeats often just because it works? Share down below. So, lately, what's been on my mind is how much invisible decision making goes into feeding people well, not just the cooking part, the thinking part. Let me know if this resonates with you. Planning, remembering preferences, managing schedules, nutrition concerns, budgets, energy levels, what's already in the fridge, what nobody wants anymore, what needs used up first. Add to the list down below. And often we're carrying all of that mentally long before we even start planning or cooking. And it may even be deterring us from planning or cooking. Also, let me know down below if that's you. So that's why I hear from so many of you, I'm tired of thinking about food. And it's not because you hate food, it's because the constant decision making has become exhausting. And I think social media has unintentionally intensified this. We're surrounded by endless recipes, beautiful food content, meal plans, grocery hauls, what I eat in a day, complicated or simply or or not so complicated prep systems that someone's devised that works for their particular life and household, right? And quietly, without even realizing it, we start to feel like dinner should always be creative, optimized, different, exciting, perfectly nourishing. But real life doesn't usually work that way, and it was never supposed to. So tell me down below, what feels hardest about dinner for you right now? Is it coming up with ideas? Is it decision fatigue? Do you have picky eaters in your household? Lack of time? Are you trying to balance nutrition with real life, multiple nutrition needs with meal life? Let me know down below. So, one thing that I've also noticed in functional kitchens, sustainable functional kitchens, is that they usually have familiar meals, repeat ingredients, flexible formulas, and thus lower decision fatigue. Not because these households lack creativity, but because it's the repeatability that creates the stability. It simplifies the grocery shopping, it reduces waste, lowers the mental load, and it helps you cook more consistently because you've reduced the mental load. You've simplified. Everyone's enjoying the whole process a little bit more, right? And this is also true in a professional kitchen. Even my personal chef clients often repeat meals or flavor profiles that they love. Not every household wants novelty all the time. And if you're in the midst of raising a family, if you have children, consistent meals, consistent flavors creates a sense of security, right? Even for adults. But that's why we go back to our comfort food dishes because it brings back that sense of security that we had growing up. So, what most people actually want on the daily are meals that feel doable, satisfying, and dependable. And that's what we need to normalize more, not the restaurant style in the home every evening, right? Restaurant cooking is a very specific style and way of cooking. And usually a restaurant chef or a chef in charge of that kitchen, and we need to talk about the word chef as well. Lots of us, I think most of us are familiar with quote unquote chef, capital C, from the brigade system that came out of France. And that's a very particular style of running a restaurant kitchen. Not all restaurant kitchens run that way. Okay, so chef with a small c simply means the person who's in charge of the kitchen. So every one of you who is leading the charge in your household to plan the meals and do the cooking, you are the chef in your household. All right, a short diatribe. Okay, so practically speaking, because we don't want to just talk theory here. We want to actually change what is happening in our kitchens so that we can enjoy being in the kitchen and enjoy the table again and bring that sense of community back to our homes. Okay, so let me give you a few practical shifts that you can try immediately. They're simple, but they help tremendously. The first one is choose 2 anchor meals. These are meals everyone generally enjoys and that you can also make without much stress. Your hands know what to do almost automatically, right? You're on autopilot. So, for example, these might include for you tacos, pasta night, rice bowls, maybe it's soup and bread, maybe it's a grilled protein and roasted vegetables. These are your meals that stabilize the week. Okay, the ones that you can always depend on, the autopilot meals, the ones that you can cook without thinking about it, and the ones that your people enjoy without thinking about it. Okay. So, my second suggestion is repeat ingredients intentionally. So, you don't need 40 different ingredients every week. A lot of mistakes in meal plans are that every meal is different. So, you have, 5 to 7 breakfasts, 5 to 7 lunches, 5 to 7 dinners, 5 to 7 snacks just in one week. Do you know how many recipes that is? I mean, when I do a cook date, yes, I am doing 3 to 5 separate entrees with appropriate side dishes. So that may add up to, let's see, 3 times 2, 3 times at least 9 different recipes or more, right? But I'm also repeating ingredients in there, repeating flavor profiles, maybe presented in a different way. So if you buy cilantro, use it twice. If you roast vegetables, make twice as much and reuse them. If you prep rice, although rice is one of those things that doesn't necessarily reheat well, but if you prep rice, maybe put it in the freezer, not in the fridge, build multiple meals around it. Culinary pros and chefs think this way constantly. That's how we are budget efficient, right? And you want to build around flavor and taste profiles instead of recipes. I know this is the biggest shift, and it's the one where people go, wait, what? Okay, so instead of asking, what recipe should I make, ask, what flavors sound good this week? What sounds tasty to me? What sounds tasty to you guys? When I started asking my family this question, they were like, what? Why are you asking us? You're the one that's doing the cooking. I'm like, well, and I had to remind them for many weeks, many months. I was like, look, I don't want to cook what you don't want to eat because then we've just wasted not only grocery dollars, right? We've also wasted time in the kitchen and we've wasted a meal. So, what sounds good this week? Is it Mexican? Is it Mediterranean? Is it comfort food? Maybe it's Asian inspired. Is it something lighter as opposed to heavier, depending on the weather outside? Is it something that's spicy or highly seasoned, or is it maybe something light and refreshing, right? So that immediately simplifies your decisions right there from the very top instead of starting with what recipes look good, because that recipe might look good, but once you make it, it might not taste good. No two of us taste or experience the same dish the same way. So becoming very familiar with what works for you and your household is incredibly important to simplifying decisions. And there's no comparison to the family that lives next door or to your mom friend who's planning for her family, right? No two people experience the same dish the same way. All right. And my fourth suggestion, leave breathing room. Not every meal plan is perfect, right? One flexible meal each week helps tremendously. This flexible meal could be leftovers, breakfast for dinner, one of my favorites, sandwiches, quick for lunch, grain bowls, use what you have meals. That flexibility matters more than perfection. All right, so before we go on to my next my next point, let me repeat those four quick wins in case you're just joining us. The first one is choose two anchor meals. The second quick win is repeat your ingredients intentionally. The third is build around flavor and taste profiles instead of recipes. And fourth, leave yourself some breathing room in the week. Okay, so how is it then that culinary pros and chefs with a little c think differently about food? So, one thing that I've realized over the years and realized pretty quickly when I started personal chefing on a regular basis is we're not usually thinking, what complicated recipe can I make? More often, the thought process is, what is practical? What is flavorful? What ingredients can I flex? What ingredients can overlap? And what actually fits this particular household? So, this is true whether I'm planning for my own family, whether I'm planning for personal chef clients, whether I'm planning for cooking classes or small events and dinner parties. So, that shift changed everything for me cooking for our home, especially because food stopped feeling like performance and started feeling more supportive. So that's also a huge part of eventually what became the Flavor First framework. Not rigid meal plans, not perfection, but flexible systems that are rooted in a flexible system rooted in flavor, nourishment, personalization, and real life. In that order. So if you think about it at the top, right, we're going to first we talk about flavor and taste, then we're going to filter for nourishment, then we're going to filter for cooking skills and lifestyle, and that's how we get to what fits you in particular. Okay. So, interestingly enough, this is also why some women that I work with eventually realize they may actually think like a personal chef already, not because they went to culinary school, but because they naturally notice preferences, think about hospitality, care deeply about nourishing people, organize meals intuitively, and enjoy creating supportive experiences around food. So there's a natural affinity for these things, but these are also learned skills that you can hone. So many women have quietly realized, wait a minute, I already think about differently about food. I think about this when I feed my own family. I think about this when I feed family and friends. And that realization can be the beginning of something much bigger. So, depending on where you are right now, there are a few ways that I can support you. If you're looking for ongoing support to simplify your meals, build confidence in the kitchen, Cook with Me, my membership program, is open right now. It's our membership program where we focus on practical cooking, flexible meal systems, flavor building, culinary nutrition, monthly live classes and Q&A, as well as your real life implementation. Comment cook down below and I will send you over those details. If you're feeling stuck with meal overwhelm or trying to simplify your routines, I also have clarity call spots available. These are great if you're looking for personalized guidance around meal planning, kitchen systems, nutrition needs, family food struggles, or simply figuring out what would work best for your season of life. So comment call and I'll send the link for the clarity call. And if the business side resonated today, if you've ever thought, I already think differently about food, then my 90-day launch program may be something to explore. It's designed for those who want to build a flexible, sustainable personal chef business around the way they already care for people through food. Not hustle culture, not restaurant life, not complicated systems, just thoughtful work rooted in real life service, flavor, hospitality, and support. You can drop down below or DM me 90-day if you want information about that program. All right, before we wrap up, I would love to hear what's one meal your household repeats that always works well, and what's one small shift from today's Flavor Friday that you might try this upcoming week. Thank you so much for spending these few minutes of our Friday together with me. I'm really grateful that you are here. Remember, flavor is how we savor at the table and in life. Until next time, keep it simple.